you're watching the Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm Elisa, back with another reading. Just want to remind you that the monthly giveaway for August is the Sacred Destiny Oracle. I just got this deck. I really love it. I have a couple other decks by this author, Denise Linn, and they're really all great. But this one has the best, I think, artwork of all of them. So anyways, if you're interested in that, you can check out the August monthly reading. In the description box, it talks about the links to where to enter, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to go to Mystical Shaman to start the reading. The August monthly reading that I was just talking about was really interesting. It talked about sort of there being like this really harsh reality check at the beginning of August that was going to fuel sort of like a realignment. And then it's interesting because they talk about, and I think it's happening like tomorrow, 8/8, you know, it's the Lionsgate portal, and so that's, you know, it's a big portal of change that people talk about astrologically, but it kind of lines up with how the August reading went, because it was like there's this huge reality check, and then this realignment, and this reassortment, and then this new reality that sort of emerges on the other side of that. So like a lot of shifting and changing happening in the month of August, and you know, the readings have been pretty climactic so far. So we had the full moon the other day, and interesting. So anyways, I'm going to pull a couple cards from Mystical Shaman. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So we have the wind on the bottom, which speaks to change. You know, the wind blows and the times they are changing, you know, but it also talks about having the courage to face the wind and face the change, you know, and I think that because when there's an external change, there's an internal change too, and so it's like you need to face whatever it is that is within you that needs to adapt in order to, you know, step into whatever this new reality is. And so it's really interesting because the other cards that fell out really are speaking to this profound, like an internal healing that's fueling a lot of this transformation. I mean, it's clearly a transformative event. So we have magic. We have the lower world, and we have the curse. So this is another instance where the cards flow together in this really magical way. I really love this deck. And okay, so I'm going to go a little out of order with these cards because I feel like the message will be more clear. But okay, so the lower world, you know, it speaks of the underworld, but it's talking about the realm of the collective unconscious, and it's talking about, you know, the realm of our ancestors, and also just sort of like unconscious patterns that we act out in our life. And it's the realm of facing your demons, you know. And so it's interesting because I was talking about having the courage to face the wind, you know. Well, in the, you know, in your own consciousness, there's like shadow elements. There's parts of yourself that you might be unconscious from, or, you know, they're just too painful for you to face. And so people have these sort of like mechanisms for like kind of building walls between us and these parts of ourselves that we're not ready to deal with or face, or, you know, emotional wounds that are like deeply rooted. And so this card is speaking to those wounds, because at the end of the day, it's like when you're not fully seeing reality for what it is, you're like creating blockages in your energy and your flow, because you're not seeing things how they are. So you're building foundations based on a false perception, you know, which ultimately is just going to damage you, you know. So in order to heal that, you have to be able to like actually face that, see things how they are, how they truly are, and adapt, you know, which really speaks to that harsh reality check that I was talking to at the beginning of August, you know. And then it's interesting because the curse speaks specifically to this situation, and it talks about an inherited pattern or an inherited perception that's basically wrong, you know. And it's not even necessarily your fault that you are seeing things from this perspective, because it's been inherited. It's like maybe your parents had this wound that they were not able to heal, and you are carrying it forward, you know. So like the book gives an example of like a mindset of scarcity, you know. As long as you see the world as scarce, you're not going to be able to manifest abundance for yourself, you know. But it can manifest as like toxic relationship patterns, you know, a number of different things. My mom's coming in right now. It's cosmic. So, you know, basically, this false perception of reality it's just like blocking the flow of energy, and it's blocking you from manifesting abundance, you know. But this links really nicely into the other card, Magic, because this is a card of being in a state of flow, and it's a card of abundance and your manifestations coming to you with ease, you know. But in order to be in this state of flow, you have to be in sync with reality. You have to see reality as it truly is, and you have to remove blockages, you know, because you have to be building on a stable foundation of things as they are. And if you have some sort of emotional blockage or wound, you know, you're not going to be able to see things from that perspective. So it's really interesting, because it's like we have this wound, you know. I love how these cards flow together. And then we have this healing, and then it's like the colors change, you know, from this pain, you know, and this like darkness, you know. We go through the facing our demons in the lower world, and then the color changes to this more spiritually connected purple color, you know, where we're in flow. But we have to go through this moment of facing our demons. So really interesting, because this really lines up with the August monthly reading really amazingly. So I'm going to go now to the Muse Tarot to pick some overall energies for the reading. Oh my gosh. I have this. When I just split the deck, I got the Hermit and I got the Seven of Inspiration. So this speaks of being on a spiritual quest, you know, a lone spiritual quest, you know, going to the lower world to face your demons on your own, you know, and you're looking for the light here, you know, and then this speaks to, you know, this moment of standing your ground and this truth and clarity trying to come through, but having to push, you know, be very intentional about pushing the darkness out, you know, to make way for this light to come through, you know. So it's like there's work that has to be done in order to heal this wound, which is blocking you from your abundance, you know. It's like, it's very interesting. I am really actually having a magical experience with this reading for myself. I've been going through a similar process of like healing a family wound. It's very painful, you know, but at the same time, like realizing that this has like been blocking me from my success like my whole life, that I've been looking at things from this sort of like adapted perspective, you know, that's not right, you know, and I've just been like over and over and over wounding myself. And you know, I think it was meant, because like I think sometimes you have to go through these things to get strong. Like you have to go through difficult situations because that makes you stronger, you know. But then you get to a point where it's like time for you to step into your power, you know, because you've learned the lessons, and now the wheel is turning. We got the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck. So it's like time to step into a new era. It's just sort of like, there's a reading from a while ago and it's called Jedi Training or something, you know, and that's part of it. It's just like you have to go through all these difficult circumstances so that you can learn your strength and learn and have reverence for difficult situation and have empathy for people who are going through those things, you know. But, you know, then there does come a time when it's time to step into your power, you know. So we have the Two of Inspiration, we have the Three of Materials, and we have the Hermit again. So this speaks to sort of a turning point, like a decision, you know, where it's just like a fork in the road where you kind of have to go one way or the other, you know, and you're building a new foundation on a different perspective, you know. So it's just sort of like you've come to this point where, you know, like I was talking about, it's like it's time to heal this wound, and it's time to ascend, and it's time to step into your power. Like you've learned the lessons, like you're graduating, you know. And then we have the Hermit, which is like going on this spiritual quest, a lone spiritual quest, you know, and you're going towards your own destiny, you know, and you're not being held back by the demands of society or anybody else, you know. You're going on your own quest. So I'm going to Golden Art Nouveau to get some general energies and a little more clarity about what's going on. But at the bottom we have the Star, you know, which is a card of healing, and it's a card of wishes coming true. So that seems really appropriate. But I'm just going to pull a few cards from here, see if I can get a little bit more information about what we might be stepping through. But this looks like a really oh my gosh, it's like some really painful energy to be healed, you know. I mean, this is like a generational familial curse, you know. I think there's a reading called, I think, the family curse, or the curse has to be broken, something about some curse that needs to be broken. So I'm going to link that because it's probably relevant to this. But healing some sort of like generational pattern that's like, you know, really deeply impacted your life, you know, and what that, oh my gosh, this is some really dramatic energy that's coming through right now. Really dramatic, but at the same time, like really healing if you can like step through it and see, you know. Oh my gosh, okay. So at the bottom we have Justice, you know, which is a card of karma and wrongs being righted. Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, and then we have the Devil. We have the Four of Cups. And we have the Nine of Swords. So this really speaks to a difficult moment to walk through. I mean, there's this toxic energy that's being released, you know. there's this cup of love that's being offered to this person, but they're like not seeing it or not able to take it, or they're just like focused on something else, you know, and they're just like trapped in this cycle of fear and anxiety, you know. Meanwhile, there's this like cup that's being offered to this person. They don't see it. They're just trapped in this toxic pattern, you know. And then we have the Seven of Swords, which is a card of like deception, you know. It's a card ultimately at its root of like deceiving yourself, because you're not seeing reality as it is. And in doing that, you're perpetuating whatever this toxic cycle is, you know, because you can't see things how they truly are, you know, and it's like creating this blockage in your energy. It's creating this blockage in how you're seeing the world. But it's interesting because we have this person who's like refusing this cup of love, you know, but this is changing. Like, this cycle is ending. Like, they're no longer going to refuse that, and they're building this new foundation. And maybe this means that the new foundation is going to be based in love, you know, because there's a fork in the road and we're leaving behind this deception and this toxic energy. That's going to be in the past, you know. I mean, this card also speaks to one of the things about actually facing your demons is if you can figure out, you know, like where you're seeing things wrong and transform that energy, you actually, you transform that energy into power, you know, and then that energy starts being used to generate this, you know, in your life. Because basically, it's like we're all energy, and so it's just sort of like you've got to go through and figure out where your energy might be getting like funneled towards like the wrong thing, you know, and sabotaging yourself. And that's what this is all about. This is like all about this like self-reflection and figuring out where you're doing that to yourself, you know. But in doing that and figuring this out, by finally accepting this cup of love and building this new foundation and stepping into this new era, we're gonna transform this energy, this fear and anxiety, into love. It's just beautiful. Like that's the spiritual quest. Like that's what needs to be learned. That's what is going to heal this and transform this energy that's being spent on this into this. Which is like, wow, that's really profound, you know. All you need is love, baby. Okay, I'm going back to the Muse Tarot, and I'm going to pull 3 more energies of guidance about how we're going to move through this moment. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay, this is... Alright, so at the bottom, we have the world again. So, the end of one era and the beginning of a new era. And again, this lines up so nicely with this card. Colorfully. Okay, so this is crazy, but we have the Knight of Emotions, which is the Knight of Cups. So this is like an offering of love, you know. There's movement in this direction, you know. There's this romantic offer, you know. And then we have the Six of Emotions, which this often speaks to like a soulmate connection from the past, you know. But yeah, there's this person, and the artwork in this deck is, it's like they're like remembering this like sweeter time, you know, from the past, and they like are hanging on to, like, they miss that, like they want to go back to that moment, you know. And then we have the Seven of Emotions, which speaks to confusion, you know, like having all these options, not really knowing what to do. And I think it also speaks to upheaval, you know, and change, because it's just like whatever your parameters were, you know, of how you were seeing the world, like that's getting upended. Like we're going through this like spiritual quest in this moment where we're changing our perception from this to this. You know, that's a profound change. It's a huge upheaval. So, I mean, it's natural that there's going to be a lot of confusion and drama that's going to be unearthed during this shift. So, okay. It looks like we're like knee deep in the middle of the harsh reality check, but it's leading to a profound healing event, you know. So I'm going to Sacred Destiny to pick a couple of cards to end the reading. And yeah, like I said, you can go back to the August monthly reading and look in the description to figure out sort of how to enter, where the entry points are. It's very easy. Last month we gave away the Mystical Shaman, my favorite deck, which I featured at the beginning. I think that one went to India too, so the last 2 months I've been sending decks to India. Yeah, I'm going to pull a couple cards here. Also, while I'm shuffling, I will mention that I'm doing this new I don't know if you'd say it's a job, but I'm involved with it, and I'm gonna put links to that in the description box too, because I've been repping for this company, and it's like kind of revolutionizing. It's disrupting the wellness industry, and like ultimately my goal with this channel is I'm not really aspiring to be a tarot reader, but I want to build a larger platform around wellness, because that's what I'm really passionate about. And so I've gotten involved with this product that is disrupting the wellness industry. It's like exogenous ketones, which is like, it's made through a natural process of fermentation, but it basically catalyzes a switch in the body from like carb burning metabolism to fat burning metabolism. So that can have like really profound impacts on the body and on wellness. And I'm going to put a link to a video about that if you're interested in finding out about ketones and what they do. And I'm also going to put a link to my ketone store where you can purchase them, because I've been using them myself and having some pretty profound impacts myself. And I have autoimmune disease, so I'm super sensitive, and there's a lot of products, most, you know, that I can't even use, but this one has been working for me, so that's why I'm so excited about it. Anyways, links in the description if you're interested. Okay, so the cards that came out: Purification, Delight, and Solitude. So this is really interesting, because I think this really confirms the whole reading of just like having to go internal and heal these wounds, you know, these profound wounds, but that leading to a state of flow and a state of happiness, you know, and a state of magic. It's interesting because like this ketone product that I'm talking about, like it's like the group that I'm part of is called Magic People Magic Drink, or Magic Drink Magic People, because it's been having these magical impacts on people and their, you know, health and wellness. And so it's interesting that this is coming up right now. But then we also have Solitude. So I think that's going to support this transition for you right now. Is, you know, the Hermit card has come up a couple times, you know, and it's important to take this moment for yourself and heal this energy. This is really profound because this is what's going to propel you into the new world order. And I don't mean that in a conspiracy theory kind of way, but the world card came up twice. It came up in the monthly reading as where we're headed. And so it's really important to take the time to do this work right now, because this is what's going to fuel this profound shift in consciousness that's going to lead to some really, really good things. So I wish you luck with that, and I'll be back soon with another reading.